Welcome to The Explainer. If you've been firing off job applications lately and feeling like they're just vanishing into a digital black hole, I promise you, you're not alone. There is a very specific, highly mechanical reason for that happening. And today, we are going to dive into the black box of applicant tracking systems to show you exactly how to optimize your resume for the 2026 job market. We have to start with a pretty massive reality check. A staggering 75% of resumes are filtered out by software before a human recruiter ever even lays eyes on them. Just think about that for a second. You could literally have the perfect background and the exact skills a company is desperately searching for. But if a piece of software can't properly extract and categorize your data, you're tossed right into the rejection pile. No human feedback, no second chances. So, to fix this, we're going to map out the exact journey your resume takes through this filter funnel. We'll quickly cover the ATS black box, move into Pillar 1, which is clean parsing, then Pillar 2, covering semantic keywords, explore the infamous 7-second scan, and wrap up with your actionable 2026 ATS checklist.
Okay, Part 1, the ATS black box, and how the machine actually works.
You have to remember, these platforms don't read your resume like a person does. They convert it into a database record. And the math behind your actual ATS score is completely fascinating. Sure, 40% of your score is based on keyword density, which makes total sense. That's your actual job fit. But another 40% is based entirely on format parsability. That means getting your formatting right is quite literally just as critical as having the exact skills the employer wants. The final 20% is just checking for section completeness, basically ensuring you have standard recognizable headers for your education and experience. Let's move into our first critical pillar, clean parsing, making sure your resume is actually readable by robots. The absolute most crucial thing to understand here is that parsers read left to right and top to bottom. That means those super fancy multi-column templates or complex graphics, they turn your hard-earned experience into total gibberish. If you build a highly designed resume in a tool like Canva, it might look stunning, but it exports text in unusual layers that the parser just can't decode. Plus, a lot of these systems completely ignore header and footer regions, so if you tucked your email or phone number up there, it's basically gone. You've got to keep it to a clean, single-column, plain text layout. And listen, your font choice is not just a cosmetic decision. It is a massive parser variable. In recent tests, rendering a resume in Calibri 11 point gave a perfect 100% extraction rate. But check out what happens with Times New Roman. Older parsers actually struggle with its thin serifs, triggering OCR fallback errors. In one actual test case, the parser misread the word churn and changed it to chum. It also changed a $4.2 million figure by swapping the decimal for a comma. Those tiny, seemingly harmless errors completely destroy your keyword matches and erase your quantified achievements from the database. When we break down this parser behavior by platform, the variance is wild. Modern AI-driven parsers like Lever and Greenhouse are super forgiving, pulling data accurately even from different fonts. But legacy systems like Taleo, they are absolutely ruthless. Almost anything non-standard is a huge risk. And get this, Workday will silently substitute fonts like Garamond into Times New Roman, which can shift your line widths mid-bullet and literally break your sentences in half. So Calibri 11 point or Arial 10.5 point are for sure your ultimate universal safety nets across all the major platforms.
Now, for Section 3, our second pillar, keywords and semantic matching.
Is 2026. You can't just copy and paste a giant list of words or use that old trick of hiding white text in the margins anymore. Systems use natural language processing to perform semantic matching now. This means they evaluate the actual context and meaning of your achievements. The software knows that if you write led cross-functional teams, you have overlapping competencies with project management. It's looking for meaning, not just exact text matches. Because of this, mindlessly stuffing keywords is a terrible strategy. Not only does it make you sound like a broken robot to a human, but modern enterprise systems will flag your resume for AI detection if it looks like you're just spamming terms like Python, Python, Python. Natural integration is the goal. You only need to use the primary term once or twice, but weave it into a quantified achievement. This proves your context to the algorithm and, much more importantly, it proves your value to the human reviewer waiting on the other side. Which brings us to Part 4, the 7-second scan, entering the human triage phase. Okay, congratulations, you've survived the robot. But now we face the final, most exhausted gatekeeper, the human recruiter. According to industry data, recruiter workloads surged by 26% in just a single quarter recently, while the number of open jobs stayed flat.
Companies are being absolutely flooded with applications, but they aren't hiring more recruiters to read them. This explains why they are forced to scan your life's work at lightning speed. Because they're processing hundreds of applications every week, eye tracking studies reveal they spend an average of just 7.4 seconds deciding if your resume goes in the trash. 7.4 seconds! That's literally less time than it takes to tie your shoes. They're not reading your document carefully at this stage. They are skimming it, and they're doing it ruthlessly.
So what exactly are they looking at in those 7 seconds? The heat maps tell the story. Recruiters focus almost entirely on the top quarter of the page. They are scanning specifically for familiar brand names, job title matches, and hard numbers. If your most recent job title matches what they're hiring for, you survive. If your first 2 bullet points have quantified metrics like percentages or dollar amounts, their eyes gravitate right to them. Anything below the fold or buried down in bullet point number 5, it's practically invisible on that first pass.
There's a quote from the source material that you really have to keep in mind. The recruiter isn't being lazy, they are just executing a rapid, binary filter to find obvious relevance. They know 80 to 90% of the pile doesn't fit the role. Your only goal with your layout is to survive this initial triage phase so that the hiring manager eventually gives it the full 3-minute read it truly deserves.
Finally, Section 5, your 2026 ATS checklist with actionable steps. This is your cheat sheet, so definitely take a screenshot of this right now. If you follow these 6 steps, you guarantee your resume will parse cleanly on any modern platform. Keep it to a single column. Use Calibri or Arial at 11-point font. Stick to standard section headers like work experience. Format your dates clearly with the month and year so chronological parsers don't glitch out on you. Tie your keywords to hard metrics. And finally, always save it as a standard.docx or text-based PDF. So before you blindly fire off another application into the void, take a step back. Ask yourself if you've really done the foundational work to ensure your resume survives the funnel and reaches a real human being. The ATS is absolutely not your enemy. It's just a filter, and it rewards clarity, honesty, and exact formatting. Master the machine's language, and you'll get your application into the hands of the human waiting to hire you. But once you secure that elusive interview, how do you beat the psychological biases of the hiring manager? Well, that is a puzzle for another day.